Venerable asked me to speak on Losar, and since Losar is tomorrow, but our BBC day last before Losar is today, so I'm doing BBC on Losar in advance. Before I go to speak on, I have a few pictures to show you. Could you please just show the first one? By the way, this is water rabbit year. So very often people mistake the combination of the element and the zodiac sign together. They take it too literally. Oh, rabbit made up with a water body. Last year it was iron tiger or something. Say, how can there be a tiger which is iron? By the way, the water part is the element, which are 5 in number, and the rabbit part is the zodiac sign, which are 12. And the zodiac signs run once in a year, but the elements get to go twice in a row. So that's why the whole cycle will be completed in 60 years. And that 60 years is called a Rabjung, which is like a sexcentenary kind of a cycle. So right now we may be in the 17th sexcentenary, etc. So it will last for 60 years. So anyway, this year is also year 2150, Tibetan year. We usually call that the Tibetan royal year. So that means you add 127 years onto the current common era, and that makes a total of 2150. And that 127 BC is considered to be the year of the first enthronement of a king, Tibetan national king. So that was more or less a king out of consensus. But in terms of who that king is, where he has come from, there's so many legends. I will not go into that. But this is rabbit water, whereas in another calculation, particularly that of the Bon, the primitive Tibetan religion, in their calculation, the same first king by the same name, is said to have occurred 350 years before the Common Era, so 350 years BC. So that makes this year 2373. Yeah, okay, could you show the next? So this is a relatively simple setup of an altar for a Losar, typical Losar. Not every shrine looks like this in terms of the offerings and what are present there. Not that it is strict rule that it should be, otherwise it won't be Losar, it won't be counted as Losar offering. It has to come from your heart, it could be anything. But there are certain traditionally fixed items that are present for Losar shrine. So as you can see, there is a colored box, we call it bow, a colored box with a department, with a partition in between, wherein in one you put in barley, and the other is roasted barley flour mixed with honey, with butter, and that's very typical Losar. It's only during Losar you do that, or maybe sometimes on auspicious occasions. Oh yes, people didn't do that when inviting it was His Holiness the Dalai Lama. It's a sign of kind of showering auspiciousness, but this is typically belonging to Losar. So what we do is, in every family and every monastery, one would expect a bow. We call it bow and chamar. Bow is the wooden framework. The chamar is the flower champa part of it. So people would go and take a pinch of the chamar, not the barley. You don't touch barley. But the chamar part of it. And then chamar part, you take a pinch and then throw 3 times in the air. And then take a bit of it, nibble of it. Take a sharp small bite of it. And then you utter wishes for the family, for everyone, for entire sentient beings as you throw it. And then you can see out there, just to the left of the, on the chamar part and the throw part, usually there is this butter sculpture. Here it is representing the 8 auspicious signs. On the other, there are some elements being represented there. It could come in either in the case of those who could afford or who have connections with the sculptors, whatnot. I have never owned one in my life, nor did I care for that. But those who would have that access, they would have the butter sculpture. And then it is kind of put in the either part of the bow in chamber. Otherwise, it could be in a colored painting. Like that. People, as a family, you really need to have one and make sure that you put it there, then take it out, just as people do with the Christmas decorations. They would have put it there, and then once they put it, they would forget it. And then when Christmas hits, they know where to reach for. So anyway, likewise, people, a family owner would, once they have it, butter ones would be difficult to keep, but the ones with the paintings that look good, they really treasure it. They may have just two is enough, but they really treasure it. So then, on the left of it, you will see something like a sheep form. Here it is a full form. It has gone full blown in terms of representing the sheep there. But usually it is a sheep head, and it would have a sun and moon representation on the head. I don't know exactly. People have guesses why sheep and why sheep's head. Partly it may have to do with its symbolism of abundance, prosperity for nomadic life. And then the sun and moon have representations of magnificence and fame spreading all over. Also something about decency, what do you call, elegance, all that. And then behind the sheep, you will see some sprout, right? Green sprout there. People make sure that they really get it right, get it in time. So they would sow it in a week ago, and then water it. Sometimes it comes very well, comes out good, sometimes no. But these days, it's quite easy. You can get that in stores. Somebody figured out that they could get it from stores. So just tomorrow is Losar, you just go and buy it. But some go to the trouble of really making sure they have one very rich harvest. And then they will plant 3-4 of them, and then at least always there will be 2-3 of them that they have to throw away or have to hide somewhere. So this is called lopu, which means the first of the harvest. So pu is the first portion. So likewise, like we offer our food fu to the triple gem. Before eating, we offer it. That's like a fu, the first part of it. Yeah, so could you go to the next one? Next one is quite elaborate here. This some of you may remember, recognize. This is in Dharamsala, Suklakam, right? Just behind that is the 1,000 arms generosity. So here it's quite elaborate, but I could not make out how come they have placed this box there. It's a typical card box. And this is in Suklakam, in His Holiness's main temple. Someone was a little careless. And then you can see there are fresh vegetables also. That's not usually the case. But anyway, look at the stack of capsis there. So another part of Losar must, not necessarily must, but Losar must, if you can afford, is derka. We call it derka, which means the stack of kapses. If you call it kapse, then it specifically refers to the deep fried cookies of this kind. If you just say kase, then it's general food. So, so they come in so many different forms, and you can see at the very top of the stack, you will see a round one, which is called buluk. Buluk, and it is made made of a very runny batter, put in a contraption like that of a Christmas cake icing bag. They squeeze that, which they squeeze the wheat part of it, the dough, but made very runny, and it is squeezed out, and then it's kind of. I don't think there's particular order there because in the way you look at it, it's like mumbo jumbo. Anyway, still forming, making sure that it's round, and it's called buluk korlo. I don't know. Buluk korlo is wheel. So buluk, I would rather say buluk means ganju manju. Done it in any way you like it, or it happens to be, but maybe not. I have never tried it. So that always gets to sit on the top. But if there is another form of kapse which is called bim bim dok dok. Not that I have ever eaten it. I don't think I've ever seen people eating it. But it gets to get at the very top of it. It's a very heavy one, almost like a turquoise, tortoise, turtle kind of a shape. Yeah, kind of shape. And it's deliberately made in such a way that it's so hard. So I can't imagine people even trying to eat it. That gets to sit on the very top. It is called Bim Bim Tok Tok. I like the name. It's but Bim Bim Tok Tok. Tok Tok means something round, something, yeah. But Bim Bim, I don't know. So then this particular kapse, of which the majority of the steak is, it is called, let me see. I have eaten them, but I do not know the name as much. It's called mukdong. Mukdong. Long strands of dough braided together, and of course deep fried in butter. Yeah, one thing about kapse is all the kapses are deep fried, be that in butter or oil, whatnot. But they taste different because of what is put in the mixture. Some put oil, honey, sugar. Some are just plain dough with little salt, but deep fried. So that's another kapse. Yeah, the most popular of the kapses. Here it is not put in large amount, but the one just sitting under the buluk at the top. Can you zoom it and then bring it down? Yeah, down. Yeah, there. There it is. Just 3 stacks of them there under the buluk. They are placed upside down. By the way, it is so easy to imagine that. Just think of an old-fashioned telephone handset, and now enlarge it, and then stretch, and then make it little straight, and then pull the airs apart. Not apart, of course, little further. That's pungu amjo. Literally, it means donkey's ear. It is the simplest one. It has salt in it, but wow, let it sit for a few days, 10 days, even a month. then dip it in butter tea, or even sweet tea. Ooh, the taste is nothing that you know in the world. It's so good, so good, so good. Yeah, at the dialectic school, yes, I have to interlace it with my own experiences, right? So at the dialectic school, we would have Losar, and then everyone would be distributed the Capsis. We would have maybe a set of 4 or 5 Bungu Amjos to take with us. We would treasure it, and then the monastery would also take down their altar, which would be high stack of Capsis, and would be distributed every once in a while. So that's how we would have unceasing supply of Capsis to look forward to after we have had our hard debate, and come back and then look for. We would have a mug which is kind of a military mug. In Indian militaries, they would have that size of mug, which fills in half a kilo or maybe a kilo, half a kilo something. We would all have that kind of a mug, and then tea would be served almost to the brim. Unlike the Britishers or the Indians, they could do with very little tea and then sip at it and last for hours together. And in Britain, they will do that, right? I mean, that's how they get the best out of it, they say. But no, not for us Tibetans. So we would have a big mug and make sure it is filled to the brim. Even if it's spilled out, it's okay. But you drink, and then you dip the Capsi. Yeah, that way the Capsis could get really deep in. Oh, it's so good, so good. But somehow that's called Pungu Amjo. The least the name you would give to the favorite one. Donkey's ear. I don't know what is the connection with there, but somehow somebody did a research on it, and they say that instead of calling Bungu Amjo, which is when, I don't know, it picked up, they are suggesting some other name. They call it, what is that? Kugo. So some people take time in doing that kind of a research. And that's valued. You did a wonderful research on this. Who knows how many hours have been spent now? Now, once you are here, and then you look back and think of what you did, what you just thought was important. I'm just reminded of the statement. I think it appears even in Tsom Udana work also, but also in Dhammapad. I'm not so clear. Where it says Buddha's teaching is basically do what they don't do what they do. It basically comes to that. Yeah. What they value, don't value. What they don't value, value. That's basically how things would then begin to be really change. Yeah. Nyingbu mela, nyingbu she. What is considered to be essenceless, take essence in them. What is considered of essence, think of them as essenceless. That's exactly what. But anyhow, in a different context, it has its values. I must say this while I'm on the air. Okay. So, yes. So I pretty much covered the yes. I don't know if this has in it. Could you zoom out? This may not have. This doesn't seem to have the typical Tibetan treat. At the dialectic school, we used to get that. Oh, this brick, it's almost like a brick, like you call brick of gold. It's almost like a brick of chura, crushed chura, with butter, milk, just basically karsum, ngarsum, 3 whites, 3 sweets, right? But mainly made of chura, crushed chura, and it would come in blocks. That is. Pardon? Yeah, chura is cheese. You call it cheese, but it's Tibetan cheese is very different, a world apart from what you know of cheese. Tibetan chura is, some even blame churas for losing their teeth. They look back in their early lives and they say, oh, maybe that number of days I chewed and chewed and chewed on the hard chura, that might have to be blamed for losing these teeth. But anyhow, when it is crushed and it is made powder, it makes a very good mix with the tamba, and then you can have it. Ooh, I even secret thing. One thing, I even do it here. I got my supplies of tamba with the kindness of people, and then even got chura, which is not as powdery and crushed, so it needs to be crushed. One day, don't be surprised if I borrow the mortar from the kitchen. But for now, I make do with my own little pounder, Tibetan medicine pounder. I would put just enough chura there, enough for one treat. But now I'm getting more impatient with it, so I might borrow the mortar and get it done once. Okay. Now another thing is they put chang, Tibetan beer, made out of barley or millet or rice. And not so much in the monasteries. Who knows? Not that I have seen. But speaking of chang, being part of Losar, is almost universal in Tibetan families. Or they even use this as a sign to look for what the year ahead is going to be like, in how it comes out. Well, they say the smell is so good, the whole house